Welcome to OverTime, the podcast. OverTime is a podcast dedicated to all things watches, particularly in the microbrand and affordable range. I'm Praka, and this is my co-host, Justin.
We are two watch enthusiasts based out of Perth, Western Australia. Join us as we discuss our thoughts on new releases, share our personal experiences, and offer our insights on building a collection.
Whether you're a seasoned enthusiast or just starting your journey, OverTime will keep you entertained with informative insights and casual conversations.
Let's get started.
So, Justin, how you going, mate?
Hey, man, I'm doing pretty good. Yourself?
I'm good. I'm feeling much better. A little bit. I think last episode I recorded, I said I was a bit under the weather. Definitely feel like I'm on the other side of it. And yeah, yourself, how's the weekend?
That's good, man. Yeah, good. I think I'm recovered as well from the old concussion. Even though I've got another 2 weeks to go, I've no play. There was a couple of days there I felt real spaced out. Like trying to talk to you on the phone the other day was one of the hardest tasks of my week.
Yeah, I did wonder. I was like, wow, he really mustn't have had his coffee today. And then you told me that you had a concussion. So I was like, oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird. I did some research after it about him. I've had a couple from sport now, and it's really not good as you get older. So I think, we're going to take it easy. Maybe I'm not going to get a helmet or anything, but just be a bit more mindful.
Yeah.
As I head into my 30s next year.
Yeah. Please. Not only for yourself and for your friends and family, but for the listeners as well. Keep yourself safe.
Yeah, it's hard enough to listen to me as it is.
But
my weekend was good. How about yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Just like I said, getting ready and really, I guess, just getting ready for today. We've got something special today. So we have a special guest on the show for our listeners today. I think we've had 2 guests this season and a third and another very special guest for our listeners today. So we've got Susan Galvin from Galvin Watch Company. Susan,
Hello.
how are you going?
Yeah, good, thanks. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all.
All good. Well, we like to kick every episode off with a customary wrist check. So as the guest today, Susan, what have you got on the wrist?
I am wearing my Suvi Lupin, so this is my newest collection. So tonneau case, and with Suvi Lupin, it's like a purple dial. So yeah, this is what I'm wearing today.
Very cool. We love a purple dial here. What about you? Yeah, it is definitely big in the world in the watch world nowadays.
Yeah.
Very quick too. It took off very quick purple.
Yeah.
But what about yourself, Praka? What have you got on today?
Well, thanks to Susan, I almost thought that it wasn't going to get here in time, but it just did in the nick of time. I am also wearing the Galvin Suvi in the Barley. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Correct, the Barley. So I literally got home from work and it was there. I ripped it open and I've chucked it on my wrist about 10 minutes ago. So it's a that tonneau case. It's awesome. I haven't really had too much of a chance to have a play with it yet, but I'm looking forward to it for this week, hopefully.
Good. Yeah. Well, let me know what you think. But a lot of people be saying that it's like personally what was really important for me, that it's kind of comfortable to wear, given that my wrist is, relatively small.
Yeah.
So how the size is, so that it's actually really comfortable to wear, so that the case back is actually curved, so it kind of like curves.
Yeah.
I don't know, to wears really well. So, that's the feedback that I've been receiving so far.
I can definitely attest to that as well. I do have very small wrists myself, and it is curving very nicely on my wrist. So awesome. Justin, what about yourself, mate?
This afternoon, I did a bit of a change to go do school pickup and stuff, and I chucked on the Orient Kamasu Gen 2, I believe it is. So kindly on loan to me from yourself. I'm absolutely loving it. It's been this all for around 7 days now. I think it was that Tuesday last week we caught up. Love the color, love the that photinted loom, the creamy loom against the red, and the burgundy straps are really, really doing it for me. So I think I dare say I see this watch in my future somewhere. Going to put off catching up with you so I don't have to give it back. But yeah, it's been on a lot. I really like it.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great little piece, and it surprised me actually. So it was a nice little departure from what I normally go to in color. So yeah,
Yeah, very cool.
Color's the name of the game, and yep. So we've got the purple, we've got a barley dial, and we've got a red dial. Awesome. All right. Well, introductions aside, let's really, again, get into the introduction, I guess. So, Susan, again, thank you so much for joining us today, and I really appreciate it. Obviously, we're recording in the western side of the country, and you're on the eastern side, where it's quite late for you. So, yeah, we do appreciate that you come on board our schedule. So, yeah,
No problem.
we're very, very delighted to have you. So, I guess before we get into, the nitty-gritty questions, appreciate it if you could tell our audience, who you are and where you're from, and yeah, just a little bit about you.
Yeah, well, my name is Susan Galvin. Yeah, I live in Sydney. I've been living here. It's coming actually 11 years soon, so quite a while. So I moved here initially because of my work. I was working as a watchmaker. So I started my watchmaker's career in the UK. I was working for LVMH, and then after 3 years, I was applying for transfer, and I had an offer from Hong Kong or Sydney. So I decided that I'm going to go with Sydney. It's just kind of, in that point of life, it was, yeah, I suppose more appealing to me. So I always wanted to come to Australia, and that was kind of like the opportunity there. So I chose that, and I moved here 2013. It was September, and I was working then in Tag Heuer, LVMH, mainly repairing Tag Heuer watches. And from there, I ended up going to Omega, worked in Omega as a watchmaker in a Omega boutique in Sydney. I started my maternity leave, and I was aiming to go back to Omega, but unfortunately then they moved the operations from Sydney to Melbourne. So I lost my job, and I decided to start completely just designing watches, but I do repair watches as well.
Cool. I think we lost you just a little bit towards the back end as well. It's all right.
Sorry.
So no, that's not an issue. So you did mention that the move operations from, obviously from, as you said, from Sydney to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you were let go, and then we missed the most important part of that.
Oh no!
It's okay. That's why we do these.
It happens.
So, yeah. So
Yeah.
and then if you could just repeat that last little bit again for our audience, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, no problem. So so after working for Omega, the operations were moved from Sydney to Melbourne. I unfortunately lost my job. And from there, I decided that I'm going to start my own business, which is called Galvin Watch Company. So I've been working from 2020. I started my business first as a sole trader, and then it went from there to, company. But I do still repair watches. So I don't just do watch designing. I do actually do some repair work as well on the side. So so this is what I do.
Yeah, very cool. That's some pretty big life changes in the span of 10 years, moving country, from then Tag to Omega, and then Omega to your own operation. That's pretty big.
I know, yeah. And obviously COVID hit and all that. So I did have initially when I started, I did have my own workshop, which was great, like external workshop. So that happened after the first Kickstarter campaign for my first collections. So I invested for a little workshop here not too far away from my house. But then COVID happened, and I was in a different LGA, so I couldn't get access to it. So unfortunately, I lost it. But that's definitely the aim now for as well. So to have that same kind of external workshop as well going. So I currently have the workshop at home, but I do work in the city as I repair watches in the city. So I'm really fortunate because I get to use their premises as well. So it's really good. It works out well.
Nice.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Justin just mentioned a fantastic journey, and it's a bit of a, I guess, at that time, 2020, there's a lot of change in the world, of course, even without, let's say something like Omega moving operations. I think there was a lot of disruption in the world, and a lot of people probably thought to, hey, let's start something, or let's do something that's a bit different. But you actually did it. So kudos to you to actually, taking that leap and doing your own thing.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's just, I don't think I could have done it if there would not been platforms such as Kickstarter, because that definitely gave me the opportunity of, kind of offering the idea, the product, and then place this first stock order against the orders that I've already had. So that was kind of the business model that worked for me. I wasn't ready and I didn't want to go to the path of taking a massive business loan and then just kind of try it out from there. So yeah, it was definitely a very good platform for me. And I've been using now the same platform, but for all my 3 collections, and it just works out well. It just, reduces the risk, but also kind of, I don't know, gives the people opportunity of getting a product in a good price, I suppose. So, that it kind of works out well for everybody. So I've been quite happy with that.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, you're not the like I said, you're not the first brand that's been on that have used Kickstarter successfully. So yeah, no, it's great. And all right, so I guess with your, I mean, we'll get into the Kickstarter and your newest release in a little while. We'll sort of want to tap into a little bit more about, I guess, your history or where you got to here. So yeah, Justin, I'll let you have the next one. Yeah,
so I guess before we get into the brand and the story, what inspired you to become a watchmaker in the first place? It's a pretty niche career path to follow.
Yeah, well, I was traveling in Southeast Asia. I think it was 2006. I was quite young at that point, and I came back home to Finland. And I was like, I really want to go and work abroad. That was kind of like my vision. That I want to do something that could potentially take me abroad. And then I was studying arts and I was doing stuff with my hands. So there was a courses of doing jewelry, and I was like, oh, this feels really good. And then my dad saw an article in a newspaper about Finnish School of Watchmaking and how people who graduated from the watchmaking school, that there is a lot of, it's a fantastic school and a lot of watchmakers are working overseas, such as in Switzerland. He just suggested me that, have you ever considered about being a watchmaker? Because you do like to do things with your hands. So maybe that could kind of, work well with your, I don't know, aspirations. So I then applied to the watchmaking school and I got in. So, and I really, really liked it. How we worked, we started with so we actually started by making tools first, and then we went to the clocks, and then second year pocket watches, and third year we went to wristwatches. So it kind of went from big to small. But yeah, it was a fantastic program and very recognized.
What does the application process look like to go join watchmaker school? Is there any kind of prerequisites or prior experience in anything needed, or is it just fresh?
I think they were looking in that point. It's quite a long time ago when I'm trying to think about the test that we had to do. I remember we had like tweezers that we need to take particles from a box to put it into the different box using the tweezers. So that was one of the tests. So They were kind of seeing I don't know what's it called in English, but the fine motorics.
Fine motor skills. Yep.
Yeah. And then also they were looking at the skills of if you're seeing something and how can you draw it with, I don't know. I'm just thinking about all the words in Finnish now, so I don't know.
That's all right.
But yeah, different kind of skills of how can you use your hands and fine motoring skills. And also there was some, technical skills as well. There was a lot of people applying, but only, I think 12 people got in each year, and there was 2 separate courses. So there was watchmaking course, and then there is a micromechanic course. So so some people, they do like, for example, 3 years micromechanics, and then they go and do 1 year as a watchmaking course. So basically you got the double degree, but I just went with the watchmaking course.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I think I've said this to the audience many times. I have terrible dexterity, and to be able to have just having your body in that same position to be able to do all that, I think for me the most is trying to change straps and do bits and pieces like that, and I'm like, oh man, everything's sore. So it really, I think it takes a special, I guess, person to not only to get into it, but also there's a lot of obviously tiny fiddly parts and taking it apart and putting it all in again. I mean, it's incredible. So no, well done to you there. I guess I'll just stretch a little bit more on what Justin just said, I guess. So, I mean, we talked about what it took to get into it, to actual training. But, you know, what would you recommend? I mean, I guess like your message, you know, say if someone's out there and they want to become, you know, the aspiring men or women, they want to be out there and say, hey, I want to get into watchmaking. What would you recommend to them? Like, how would you say, yeah, do these and then it would get you started?
Well, I think in Australia it's a bit different kind of the program where you do. And there's a TAFE course only in Sydney that does watchmaking course, but it's an apprenticeship program. So you actually have to have a place where you do the apprenticeship in. So that's how it works in Australia. In Finland, it was like a watchmaking school as a college, which was kind of independent on any, you know, that was back in the days. I don't know if it's changed now, but when I did it, so it was completely separate. But when it comes to I think it's just a matter of you just have to give it a try. Like it just, you know, it's a skill, it's a trade in the end of the day. So, and I did have other day, you know, I mentioned I work in the city, I do some repair work as well. And a customer walked in and he was like, oh, that's so amazing that you can do that. How can you do it? And I was like, you know what? It's just about, you know, training yourself. It's just about learning. But I think, yes, you do need to be a bit patient because sometimes, you know, things got pear-shaped. Yeah. So it's not necessarily so. But yeah, you have to be patient, and yeah, there's no, like many watchmakers will say, there's no direct. Like you just have to be religious what you do. You can't go and try to cut the corners because it does not work like that at all. Yeah, so you just have to be patient and persistent and try to not to go completely mad.
No, great answer. I think, yeah, credit to you because I still get frustrated chaining spring bars and even quick release. Sometimes I can't get my fat fingers to squeeze them.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do it.
I'm sure you could. You just have to keep on trying.
Maybe one day.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. All right. So I guess with, you know, watchmaking, I mean, you do mention that you do repairs and bits like that. As part of the course, you mentioned there was this other, was it mini mechanics, or sorry, I didn't quite catch it before. Is that like the machining? Is that what do you call it? Micro machining? Is that to make watch parts or
micromechanics? No, that was there was two courses at the same. I actually know that there's people graduated from the Finnish School of Watchmaking that they've been working with some some particles that are used in a, oh my goodness. Do you know what? It's so late that I keep forgetting all the English words. my brain's completely switched to Finnish now.
Yeah. It's funny because I recently I work with a lot of Norwegians and same sort of thing, like, you know, and during when it's all good, we'll be speaking together, it's all fine, and then it'll be a certain time at night or something and they'll be like, I can't remember the English word for that. I'm like, you're doing a fantastic job, don't you worry. You're speaking two languages very well, and I struggle to speak one language very well sometimes. So
I was going to say, if it makes you feel any better, I've had a couple of messages since starting this saying like what I said made no sense or was going in a place where it was not meant to. So it happens to me in English as well.
Yeah. But yeah, no, look, micromechanics is like basically you do fine motoric stuff. But as I was mentioned, that there was from the Finnish School of Watchmaking, people been working in the programs that are making particles that they're using in a space stations. Is that the correct word? But anyway, yeah. So that's where I know that, you know, you can use it's kind of transferable skills, I suppose.
That's cool. Another space watch crossover that we didn't know about.
True. Yeah.
For the future.
Very cool. All right. So Galvin Watch Company is not only an Australian brand, but also clearly influenced by your Finnish heritage. And as far as we're aware, it's the first Australian watch brand launched by a woman. So how has your journey been so far in setting up the brand and moving forward?
Yeah, well, I'm also I've got two little kids, so it kind of makes things
Everything
interesting
difficult.
sometimes.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it's been good. Like people are very welcoming, and I do, get appreciation that it's, traditionally quite male-oriented industry, male-dominated industry, I should say. So yeah, I do get mainly positive feedback about, like it's great to see women in this industry as well.
Mm.
Yeah, no, I think there is actually Swiss Australian watchmaker who was based in Sydney. I don't know if she lives here anymore, but she was more like an independent watchmaker. She had a studio in Sydney, watchmaking studio, and she was making all the parts herself as well. So a little bit different kind of concept. But yeah, so I know that she is a watchmaker and she was living in Sydney. But when it comes to the, this kind of concept that I'm using, microbrand watch, yeah, I don't know if there's any other women at the moment in Australia, but I hope there would be. Yeah, it's definitely Yeah,
I think definitely throughout Facebook groups, forums, Instagram, you do see a lot more women in the industry and hobby and the watch world these days. And I think what's cool also about your situation is I think there's been a lot of conflicting views over smaller watches being women's watches and the larger watches for the men in some of the larger, more mainstream brands in their advertisements and whatnot. And you've come along with you got a bit of a bigger watch. I can't remember the name of the one that you've got currently. I can't pronounce it even.
Suvi.
Suvi. Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a bigger watch, a bit of a chunkier watch, coming out of your own brand as a woman. So well, we've said it before, we both like smaller watches, I think. I've definitely shifted over the past 12 to 18 months into liking smaller stuff, and I come from wearing a lot larger stuff as well. So it's cool to see that barrier and that wall slowly being brought down even more.
Yeah, definitely. I always had appreciated. Okay, so it actually comes from the fact that I've been working as a watchmaker for quite a long time, and always the most difficult, not necessarily the most reliable watches were the ladies' mechanical watches. So ladies' automatic watches versus that you would have the, I don't know, whatever. Like I was working for Omega for a while, so I was doing a lot of the speedies, so 1861, caliber 1863. So, when you have those options, and when I was working for them, we get to use a watch which is called the Wear watch, which I ended up purchasing. So I choose the Speedy over the ladies' watch because I just think, well, I don't know, aesthetics, but also the kind of how they work. So they are more reliable as a watchmaker's perspective. Yeah, okay, they've changed. So you can see like a bigger ladies' watches as well nowadays from the different brands. But traditionally, having those super, super small ladies' watches, they were, so the power received cannot be, similar to the bigger watches. So, so that was, I think, the inspiration for me. So I've always liked to wear a little bit bigger watches myself. And when I started to do the design, I want to design something that it's kind of unisex. So everybody can wear it. It's not gender specific.
Yeah. No, and that's a very interesting perspective. Like not something that I would have thought of about the reliability of the watch and the movements and, the size of the watch and the size of the movement, of course, affecting the power reserve. Obviously, the size of the barrel is much smaller. The internal parts itself are smaller. Breakages and, servicing them is probably going to be harder. So, that's a fantastic way of looking at it because for me personally, at least, Justin, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it that way. I thought about it just as like a, challenging traditional stereotypes more so than the actual mechanics behind it, which is cool to see.
Yeah, and I suppose for that reason you see a lot of ladies watches with the quartz movement as well, because maybe that reduces the risk of watch actually not functioning that well.
Yeah.
No, we like quartz here.
Yes, we do. We don't mind quartz or mechanical. Slowly working on it. Oh, nice. So that's awesome. We talked about your brand and how I guess it was coming from your perspective, but we didn't really touch your obviously your heritage. The model names itself Finnish, if is that correct to say? Yep.
Yeah.
And the inspirations as well finished. So
Yeah.
I mean, you guess is it inspired by I guess where you lived, the nature of it? It would be awesome to hear about it.
Yeah. So for the first design, Alku collection, so the name is Alku actually means beginning in Finnish. So that was kind of,
Very cool.
it's the beginning of the watchmaking Galvin Watch Company. So so I choose to use that name for it. But the actually initial inspiration for Alku watches was when I was doing one of my training trips to Switzerland, and I bought a Omega bumper. I think it's from the 1950s. And, the dome dial, that was kind of, I've always appreciated that, the vintage kind of look. So I wanted to bring that with my first design. I want to bring that vintage look to the design, but then also kind of twisted it with the more modern design when it comes to the lux and sapphire crystal and all that. So it was kind of like a fusion, I suppose. But when it comes to the second design, so it was the COVID time and we couldn't go back home. And I was missing home a lot, like I'm sure many people did who are not from Australia originally. So I was, I don't know, inspired by the Finnish nature, and I thought, how can I bring Northern Lights to life in the dial? Style is something that I wanted to use to kind of bring my vision. So so I just had the idea of Gilosh dial, different colors, and worked out quite well. So I was quite happy with that. So that's called Loimu collection, and Loimu stands for a blaze and blaze of the Northern Light. So the name came from there. And third design is Suvi, and Suvi is more inspired about the Finnish summer. So so Suvi is actually an old Finnish. The summer is kesä in Finnish, but Suvi is like the old Finnish word that you could use as well. So instead of using kesä, because there's the letter ä in there, I just thought that would be a little bit difficult, maybe somebody to pronounce. So I just use Suvi instead. So it's inspired by this Finnish summer and all the elements that we have during the summertime, such as, I don't know if you've ever been in Finland, we have lots of lakes, thousands, hundreds of thousands of lakes, I think. And it kind of like that, almost like my childhood memory of the summers, because I was living in countryside as well. So I'm originally from north of Finland, this little village called Ranua. It's just like there's 5,000 people living there. But it's kind of bordering. It's about 80 kilometers from Arctic Circle.
Wow.
So so that's where I'm originally from, and that's kind of my, I don't know, the most cherished memories of Finland and the Finland nature comes from.
Is it near Lapland at all?
Cool. It's so there's like a different, well, it's not states, but I don't know what they're called. Anyway, again, I'm here wondering what the word is.
Maybe? Region,
yes, that's right. So there's different regions. So there's Lapland region, and then below is Pohjanmaa. I don't know what it's called in English, but anyway, so I'm kind of like, Ranua is very close to the Lapland region. It's kind of bordering Lapland and the region below it. So it gets really cold during the winter time.
I was going to say you come from a car drive away from the Arctic Circle to one of the hotter places on Earth in summer.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd go up there. I mean, I was recently in southern Oslo, so southern Norway, and that was cold enough for me already. So. Yes, that's way further north than that. So that's awesome. It's really cool.
Even right now, it's 22 and I've got a hoodie on and I'm freezing cold. I could not go anywhere near those temperatures.
Look at me. I'm wearing like a teddy coat and I'm inside. I'm from Finland. So you definitely do climatize.
That's the you becoming Australian.
Exactly.
That's it. That's cool. Look, I wanted to touch obviously on your your latest model, right? Suvi, another Kickstarter launch, another successful Kickstarter launch, a bit different from your first two models, right? Not just talking about, I guess, the case, not just talking about the inspirations behind it, which you just went through, but obviously the case shape is very different from your first two. It's not, I guess it's still very dressy, I would think, like as you're from your first one, but obviously the tonneau case, as we were discussing, the barrel style case. What made you go down this route?
I just love the tonneau shape in general with watches. So I do have, I don't know, I personally, I find, vintage watches very beautiful and quite nice to work with as well. So there is I think the idea started from like looking at the different kind of vintage watches and beautiful shapes, and I was kind of I wanted to give it a try, the tonneau shape instead of rectangle. So I just but there was challenges because having a tonneau shape, don't want it to be too thick. So then I needed to look at the moment. I want to use a mechanical moment, automatic moment. So I needed to look into what kind of moment can I use, which is the most thing that there is available at the moment. So I came across, and also I wanted to be reliable. So obviously I use Miyota Premium Range Natural 39 with my Alco collection. So I wanted to use the similar. Yeah, it's reliable. It's been had literally next to no warranty service repairs. So yeah, I think it's just proved itself very, very good moments. So I want to use that, and it was the thinnest as it could be in the market at the moment. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool. I think we said this before with other guests as well. We really enjoy the backstory when you're creating something that is inspired by what you actually like and enjoy, and you've got a whole different aspect of that. What's good to work on as well. And yeah, because I feel like especially the micro space is very saturated with the same size, look, case shape. Everything's kind of identical from brands that are just kind of getting off their feet because it's what's safe, right? Whereas in you've kind of you've gone with something different, and you don't see every day. But I think it's paid off. We kind of touch on a bit like what we think with websites and stuff every now and then, and your website's done well as well. So like you said, your images paired with your seasons, you can clearly see that. You can see where the color inspirations have come from, and I really, really give you props on a good website.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, it's one of our pet peeves, isn't it? When we go to websites, are like, oh, this is terrible to navigate. Okay, how are people going to buy a watch if they can't navigate this thing? So
yeah, and especially if there's like a backstory that doesn't really play it out in the image, you kind of like, is it real? Is it not? But you can clearly see where your inspirations are from here.
Good.
But,
I'm glad.
All right. So, we just wanted to ask you, what is in your personal collection outside of Galvin watches?
Well, I'm kind of sharing my collection with my husband. So, and he's not really good buying the watches, but I am. So, the latest one that I purchased. No, it wasn't the latest one, but okay. Well, it's one of the recent ones. It's called Leijona, which is a Finnish brand, and in some point I think so. It's really old brand. They've started from 1940s probably, something like that. But then they sold to a big company and they got more commercialized, and the kind of appreciation went down, and it was almost like I don't know, everyday watch rather than an actual kind of collectible timepiece. So I bought a Leijona watch from. This particular one is from 1960s, and that's actually produced in Switzerland. And there's this really famous Finnish watchmaker called Kari Voutilainen. So he's based in Switzerland, and he makes watches. The prices go like 300,000 per watch, and he makes his copies. Independent watchmaker. He makes everything, and very talented of what he does, but he was collaborating actually with Leijona for a while. But yeah, anyway, so I bought this vintage Leijona watch from 1960s, and yeah, it's very beautiful.
Awesome. I'm just looking at it right now. See, I mean, Voutilainen, and yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry, I'm butchering the name, but yeah, that's that's a sort of a high horology type thing. And yeah, it's really cool. This is a really cool brand. I've never heard of it. Finnish brands, guess, Sapaneva, those are the kind of brands I've heard. And actually Puck watches, which recently I've had hands on with a Puck watch, not long ago. So yeah, it's cool to see. It's it's relatively speaking, it's a small country, and it's cool to see all these brands, I guess coming from there, or I guess the heritage. I had no idea there was such an old brand, so it's awesome.
Yeah, can't remember the year. It's completely like out of my head, but it's been gone.
1907.
Oh, it's 1907. Oh, wow. Yep. It's even longer than I remember. Yeah. But so it's it's interesting brand, and how Voutilainen is been, collaborated with the design. And I think the idea was there, I think, to try to bring the brand more recognized.
Yeah.
Because it did lost a little bit of it. Not the value necessarily, but it's just the appreciation. So I think they're trying to rebrand it.
Yeah, and I mean, you've seen that with a couple of different brands, right? Like, I mean, like for example, Zodiac. Zodiac was a brand that kind of lost his way, I think, a little bit when the Fossil Group initially bought it over. There was a lot of fashion watches that came out, but then they're really like they're focused on, hey, let's make good watches like we used to, and let's get back to it. And they sort of let them have more of autonomy to get back. And obviously, look at them now. They're back into it with a pretty cool, last, I don't know, 10 years or something, with some pretty cool releases. So nice one. Very cool. Nice. Not a watch that I've heard of in someone's collection recently. So very cool.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Completely unheard of brand for me. So you learned something new. Sweet. All right. So last question before we wrap up here. So moving on from the Suvi, what's next in the pipeline for Galvin watches?
Next in the pipeline, it will be definitely brand awareness. So I do find that when people hear about the brand and kind of what's behind everything, it's just, I try to bring my work as a watchmaker for a long time. So obviously I do put all the watches together by myself.
Yep.
And assemble the watches, and I test the watches, and I do everything by myself. My husband helps me out when it comes to the marketing or, everything like that. But so I do find that people, when they hear about the brand, that they really appreciate it. So I think the most important thing is the brand awareness at the moment. So I'm not going to jump and start designing a new watch straight away. No, it's just kind of bringing what we already have to the broader audience.
Second runs of your brand, collections will continue then, or more than just initial runs. Yeah, that's
100%. Yeah. I already have some for the volume collection. I'm just waiting for the delivery of the new stock order. So there's the volume collection is probably the one that I got the most orders from.
Sure.
So so it seems that people do like that, and of course I want that to be available.
Great.
Everybody who's interested.
Yeah, I guess you kind of forget as well. You got to let stuff sit for a while, don't you? Because you see some brands do just pump model after model out into the market. Like I think Phoebus is one that I see constantly, where there's just a new watch as soon as one's sold out and everything's labeled on the website is sold out, something new's coming, and it's pre-order here, pre-order date this. So you do have to sit back and enjoy what you've created, and watch what the people are doing and saying.
And I do want to see more retail space as well. So I've got Australian retailer, and I've got actually now one from Malaysia, one from Hong Kong. So I'm hoping to see more in that space as well.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Awesome. Yeah, it would be I'll grab those retailers' names off here, because as always we have our show notes ready, and we'll have notes and links to everything that we speak about today. So let us know, and we'll chuck it in for the audience. And we do have audience in Malaysia and Hong Kong. So yes, yeah,
Oh,
not sure how many, but yes, they definitely do have an audience there. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fantastic.
And I know you said you don't want to jump into it, but I'm going to press a little bit. If you do jump into your next model, is there any plans for a different complication?
I don't think I'm ever going to do a diver. I'm not like too keen. I don't know. I'm just kind of open-minded, but
Sure.
yeah, it's a bit early now. It's just hard to say. I generally just go what I like and what kind of I think looks beautiful, and start the designing process from there, and then obviously introduce my own. I don't know what I like, or the Finnish nature.
Sure.
No, that's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
You gotta like it. Fantastic. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that really comes to the end of our questions session. So yeah, really appreciate you taking your time to, give us some really cool answers there. Really good, I guess into your history as well and in your journey. So audience, I hope you guys, learned quite a lot about Susan and the brand. So we'll move on to the next part of the podcast, which is called the Something Interesting session. So Susan, this is basically where we discuss something interesting that we've seen, heard, watch related or otherwise. Doesn't have to be specific. So yeah, as our guest, have you got something to share?
What's interesting? I think, well, I'm heading to Melbourne this week, and we've got friends who are from Finland. They're moving back to Finland. They'll be living in Melbourne. I'm also going to visit in the Time and Tide store. I've never been there before, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, to see the masterminds behind that. So I'm going to do it, and maybe catching up with Peter Sagerson as well from the second hour.
Cool.
So that's well, we're still trying to get the timetable sorted, but so that's what's happening in my life at the moment. And I was hoping to go to there is the wrist check in Melbourne happening in a couple of weeks' time, but unfortunately I won't be in the country in that time. So I'm going for holiday in Vietnam. So that's happening in my life.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, so maybe I should go and check the Vietnamese watch markets as well. So that would be interesting.
There's a massive second-hand watch market, and especially vintage watches as well. So
you have to give me the details of that.
vintage Seiko and all that is vintage Seiko, vintage Citizen, massive in Vietnam. So yeah,
Praka's the wrong guy to have a contact with if you were trying not to buy a heap of stuff, if that's your plan over there.
Okay. But yeah, definitely go and check it out. Yeah.
Awesome. Fantastic. Justin, what about yourself, mate?
Yeah. Well, first of all, say hello to Peter if you do catch up with him for us. We've had Peter on. We do enjoy Peter's company.
Yeah, will do.
And something interesting, I wanted to talk about our friend, or I think you've chatted to him as well, Praka Dad Watch on Instagram. He finally got to have his Bel Canto collaboration with Christopher Ward in the flesh, or the metal, so to speak. And it looks so much better in person and in his images and videos than what it did on the rendering or the Christopher Ward website. He's done a fantastic job on that piece. If you haven't seen it, Susan, it's Dad Watch on Instagram. He was kind of a well-known in the Seiko modding scene, does a lot of modding himself, and he managed to get a collaboration going with Christopher Ward on the Bel Canto. So you got also a gear shay. Was it actual gear shay, Praka, or was it? I can't remember now.
No, I think it's like a wavy dial.
Like
a wavy dial. Yeah, I'm not really so sure, but it definitely is. Yeah, it's stunning. It's very different. I mean, the Bel Canto in itself already is very different, but this is just like I guess another dimension to it. So yeah, we'll put the link in there so that everyone can have a look.
I'm gonna check it out as well.
It's fantastic, and he's just an all-round good bloke to chat to when you get the chance to as well. Very cool.
Yeah, great. That sounds good.
Praka, take us out, mate. What's interesting in your life this week?
Well, I've look, I've got a lot of interesting things going on, but I guess I'll talk about something a bit watch related. So I received these cool new straps. So I've had experience with M&N straps, or I guess Marine Nationale straps. I don't know if it's basically like an elastic NATO band type thing. So it fits over your wrist, and then there's like a little metal keeper and goes on. And I think it was the French. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah. So it's the French, I think, Marines, I think that used to wear that, and it was very, I guess, tactical type thing. It all sounds great, but a lot of the ones that you get are big, and for small wrists like myself, they don't quite sit properly, and it wobbles on the wrist, and it's quite frustrating. Anyway, I managed to find myself this strap. It's called a parachute strap. So it's pretty much the same material, that stretchy elastic type thing. I don't know if you guys can see it, except it's like a single pass through, and then the keepers are like adjustable, so you can move it up and down. You can actually fit it, and if you want, you can trim the strap as well, and then it sort of just goes in and ties it on, and it's super comfortable. Like I really enjoying it. I get the same feel of that sort of elastic strap for a dive watch, but without the annoyance for small wrists. I'm sure there's, higher quality ones like Erica's, and I think there's Nick Mankey who makes some really cool ones, but they cost an arm and a leg. So whereas this one was relatively cheap. So yeah, a parachute strap. That was my so
cool.
For the small wrist people out there, it works.
Yeah, if you are looking for like a good quality Marine Nationale strap, I do have an Erica's as well, and they are fantastic. They're really nice. They're really soft, comfortable straps.
There you go. That's it. Cool. So we've come to the end of the show. So Susan, thank you so much for joining us today. We've had a
thank you.
Great chat. Learned a lot about your brand, and thanks for taking your time to come on.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It was great. It's good to have a chat.
No, anytime.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll call it there.
Perfect. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thank you. See you later. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on OverTime, the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode.
You can find us on our Instagrams at OverTime, the podcast, at Kinda Average Watches, and at Horology Capture.
We appreciate your support and value your feedback. If you have any questions, suggestions, or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please hit us up. We would love to hear from you.
Until next time.